My parents told me not to celebrate my son's graduation because my niece deserved the spotlight. My sister sneered, "He's not even that special." That night, I walked away and cut them off. A year later, they saw how happy I was without them, and they couldn't handle it. Sup Reddit. I spent 41 years being the dismissed son and thought I'd made peace with it, until they started treating my kid the same way. So I went full John Wick and made them regret it. You know what to do. Yup, grab your popcorn and enjoy the shid show. Name's Bruno, 41 male. Growing up in Ashford, Vermont felt like being the opening act nobody wanted to watch. My older sister Victoria was the star everyone came to see. Pageant queen, honor roll champion, the kind of person who could weaponize a smile. Me? I was the kid who built computers in the garage and got detention for correcting teachers. The difference between us wasn't just obvious, it was the whole point. When Victoria won Miss Teen Vermont, my parents rented out a restaurant for the celebration. When I got accepted to Carnegie Mellon for electrical engineering with a full ride, my dad said congratulations and asked if I'd seen Victoria's trophy case lately. They weren't neglectful exactly. They showed up, paid bills, did the minimum. But the way they treated us was night and day. College was my ticket out. Met Maya at a hackathon sophomore year. She was in software development, had this sharp wit, and actually laughed at my jokes. On our third date, I made the mistake of mentioning my family dynamics. She looked at me like I'd just told her I believed in Bigfoot. Wait, so they just openly favor your sister, and you're okay with that? I'm just used to it. We got married right after graduation. My parents attended the wedding, spent most of the reception networking with Maya's family about Victoria's PR career. Made several jokes about how they were shocked I'd found someone willing to deal with me. Everyone laughed. 2 years into marriage, Maya and I had Noah. Holding him in that hospital room, I made a silent promise. This kid would never question whether he was good enough. My parents visited for maybe an hour. Brought a stuffed animal, took exactly 4 photos, then left. That same week, my mom called 6 times asking if I'd heard from Victoria, who was apparently upset about her boyfriend and not answering her phone. Fast forward 3 years. Victoria and her husband Elliot had Olivia. My parents drove 4 hours to stay with them for 10 days. My dad used his vacation time. My mom brought a custom baby book with silver lettering that said, "Our first granddaughter" on the cover. Never mind that Noah had existed for 3 years. The pattern was set in stone. Christmas morning looked like someone had forgotten half the family existed. Noah's achievements got polite nods, while Olivia's mediocre efforts got standing ovations. Despite that, I went into overdrive being the best father possible. Maya and I built a home where achievement actually meant something. My career exploded too. Landed at a cybersecurity firm. Worked my way up to VP of engineering. Victoria bounced from PR gig to PR gig with my parents always ready with excuses. Bad management. Toxic culture. Whatever kept the narrative intact. When Noah was 14, he won a regional coding competition. The prize was $5,000 and a feature in the local paper. My parents saw the article, called to congratulate him, then asked if we could wire them $3,000 to help Victoria with a temporary cash flow issue. I said no. My mom cried, said she didn't raise me to abandon family. I convinced myself I'd made peace with it. Had my own life, my own family, didn't need their approval anymore. Last Thanksgiving before the graduation, we'd all been at my parents' house. Olivia complained about her iPhone being 2 generations old. My mom immediately offered to buy her the newest model. Noah mentioned he'd been saving for a better laptop for his college applications. My dad said that was good. Character building to save your own money. Olivia got a $1,200 phone that weekend. Noah kept saving. Turns out I'd been lying to myself for 17 years. Then Noah called me on a Tuesday afternoon in late April. I was in a security briefing when his name lit up my phone. Figured it was important if he was calling during school hours. "Dad, they just called me to the office. I'm valedictorian. 4.0. Full scholarship to MIT. It's official." The pride was instant and overwhelming. My son, the kid who'd spent 4 years grinding through advanced placement everything, coding competitions, robotics team, debate club. This was his moment, everything he'd worked for. "That's incredible, buddy. We're throwing you a celebration that'll make your graduation party look like a warm-up." Maya and I immediately started planning. Found this venue with mountain views, hired caterers, booked a DJ, arranged for professional photos, the whole setup. Then, almost as an afterthought, I called my parents. Figured they should probably know their grandson had just accomplished something significant. My mom answered, "Mom, Noah just found out he's valedictorian. 4.0 GPA, full scholarship to MIT. Top of his class." Pause. Then, Well, that's nice. He's always been academic. I felt my chest tighten, but I pushed through. We're planning a big celebration. Would love for you and Dad to be there. Another pause. Oh, well, speaking of celebrations, did Victoria call you? No. Why would she call me? Olivia just got selected as cheer captain for her upcoming junior year. The coach says she's showing real leadership potential. Your father and I are just over the moon. You know how hard she's worked for this. I pinched the bridge of my nose. That's great for Olivia, but what does that have to do with Noah's party? Her next words cut straight through 41 years of built-up patience. We were thinking it might be better if you didn't make such a production out of Noah's academic thing right now. Olivia really deserves her moment in the spotlight. Noah's always achieving things. This is really special for Olivia. I nearly dropped the phone. Mom, are you seriously asking me not to celebrate my son becoming valedictorian with a full ride to MIT? Not permanently, just postpone it a few weeks. We're planning a big celebration for Olivia this Saturday. Family dinner, the whole thing. You should all come. Noah can share his news there too, obviously. The rest of the conversation blurred. When I hung up, I sat in my office feeling that cold anger, tightening into something I couldn't ignore anymore. Maya found me an hour later, still staring at nothing. What happened? I told her everything. They want you to what? She slammed her laptop shut. No, actually, you know what? This is exactly on brand for them. We didn't realize Noah had walked into my office. He stood there, MIT acceptance letter still in his hand. Something wrong with the party? I couldn't lie. Your grandparents think we should postpone your celebration. Olivia made cheer captain and they're concerned about timing. Noah was quiet for a long moment. Then he nodded. Because her thing matters more than mine. Standard operating procedure. That resignation broke something in me. My 17-year-old son had learned to expect this. Had internalized that his own grandparents would always prioritize his cousin. What kind of lesson was that? But then something else registered. The expression on his face. Not hurt. Not sad. Annoyed. You know what, Dad? Forget that. Throw the party anyway. I looked at my son and saw someone who'd inherited my tendency to file things away. That night, Maya and I stayed up late mapping out party details. More importantly, mapping out family dynamics that had been toxic for decades. Around midnight, my phone buzzed. Victoria. She never called unless she wanted something. Hey, so Mom mentioned Noah's college thing. Congrats or whatever. Thanks. Listen, about Saturday. I know Mom probably made it sound optional, but it's really not. Olivia's been struggling with her self-esteem lately. She needs to see the family supporting her. You understand? Something in her tone triggered every accumulated slight from 41 years. Let me get this straight. You're calling to tell me it's mandatory that I attend Olivia's cheer captain celebration, but Noah's valedictorian achievement should be postponed, so it doesn't, overshadow her? Don't be dramatic. It's just one weekend. Noah will have plenty of opportunities to celebrate. He's going to MIT, for crying out loud. Olivia needs this win right now. Victoria! He's valedictorian. Full scholarship to MIT. Top of his entire class. Right. And that's great for him. Really, I'm happy for him. But Olivia's had a really hard year. She didn't make honor roll again. Elliot lost his job, and she just needs this win. As her uncle, you should want to support her. That's what family does. As her uncle, I do support her. As Noah's father, I'm not postponing his celebration so Olivia can have a party about making cheer captain. Wow. Okay. So Maya's finally turned you into a complete selfish jerk. Good to know. And there it was. Victoria had never liked Maya, probably because Maya was the first person who'd ever called out the family dynamics directly. Victoria never forgave her for that. Leave Maya out of this. Why? She's clearly the one putting these ideas in your head. You never had a problem with how things worked before you married her. Now suddenly you're too good for family events? Remember when I lost my job 3 years ago? You sent me $5,000, no questions asked. Now you can't even show up for your niece? That was before you started using family guilt as a weapon. I'm not using anything as a weapon. I'm asking for basic support. But fine. Don't come. Just know that Olivia's going to remember this. She's going to remember that her uncle couldn't be bothered to celebrate her achievement. Victoria, I'm ending this call now. We're throwing Noah's party. You're all invited. If you don't want to come, that's your choice. If you do this, you're going to regret it. Mom and Dad are going to be so hurt. And don't expect Olivia to ever forgive you for ruining her special day. She hung up. I sat there with my phone in hand. Maya appeared in the doorway. I heard. She called you the reason I'm being selfish. Of course she did. I'm always the convenient scapegoat. Maya sat down across from me. For what it's worth, I'm proud of you. You drew a line. Yeah, well, the line's about to get a lot thicker. The next morning, I drove to my parents' house. Didn't call ahead, just showed up. My dad answered, surprised. Bruno, it's Wednesday. Shouldn't you be at work? Took the morning off. We need to talk. About Noah, about Saturday, about everything? His face shut down immediately. Your mother mentioned you were upset about the scheduling. Upset doesn't begin to cover it, Dad. Mom appeared from the living room. Saw my expression. Her smile dropped. Bruno, before you say anything, I want you to understand we're not trying to be unreasonable. You asked me not to celebrate my son's valedictorian achievement because it might overshadow Olivia making cheer captain. She set down her coffee cup. We asked if you could postpone it a few weeks. That's not unreasonable given the circumstances. What circumstances? That Victoria's daughter achieved something and mine isn't allowed to? Dad stepped forward. No one said Noah isn't allowed to celebrate. We just think the timing needs consideration. Olivia's been struggling. This is important for... Noah's been working toward this for 4 years, I said, my voice getting louder despite trying to stay calm. He maintained perfect grades, led the robotics team to state championships, got a full scholarship to one of the best engineering programs in the country. And you want me to downplay that because Olivia got picked as cheer captain? Mom took off her reading glasses slowly. You're being dramatic. We're simply suggesting consideration for your niece's feelings. Is that really so terrible? When have you ever shown consideration for Noah's feelings? The question came out sharper than I meant it to. When have you celebrated his achievements with even a fraction of the enthusiasm you show for Olivia? Silence. Mom's face hardened. This is Maya's influence. Before her, you understood family dynamics. You forgot Noah's 13th birthday for Victoria's move. Missed his robotics championship for Olivia's recital. Last Christmas, $50 gift card versus a $1,500 laptop. They looked stunned, like they were hearing it for the first time. Those were scheduling conflicts, Dad said weakly. It's a pattern. Same one you established with Victoria and me. Mom stood up straighter. We did the best we could raising you and your sister. If you've held on to some perceived slight all these years, that's on you. I laughed, but there was no humor in it. Mom, that's not perception. That's explicit, documented favoritism. Dad's voice went cold. We've already planned Olivia's celebration for Saturday. The whole family's coming. We thought Noah could share his news there. That way everyone gets recognized. That's more than fair. My blood pressure spiked. Right. That's your solution. If you're going to be difficult about this, Mom said, her voice tight, perhaps you should just skip Saturday altogether. Something inside me snapped, like a cable under too much tension finally giving way. No, I said calmly. We're throwing Noah a party. A real one. He deserves to be celebrated properly, with or without you. Then I suppose it'll be without us, Dad said. Since you clearly don't care about family unity. I turned toward the door, then stopped. Turned back. You know what the real tragedy is? Noah's an extraordinary person. Brilliant, hardworking, kind. And you've been so focused on propping up Victoria and Olivia that you've never bothered to actually know him. That's your loss, not his. I walked out, got in my car, drove away with my hands shaking on the wheel, feeling simultaneously terrible and oddly relieved. Like I'd finally stopped carrying something heavy I didn't realize I'd been holding. Called Maya from the car. It's done. They won't be at Noah's party. How bad was it? About what you'd expect. They don't see the problem. Think I'm being dramatic. I sighed. Pretty sure Victoria's going to hear about this within the hour. Good, Maya said firmly. Let them all stew in it. When I got home, Noah was in his room studying. I knocked, stuck my head in. Hey, so, talk to your grandparents. They won't be coming to your party. He looked up, nodded slowly, then shrugged. Honestly? Fine. Means we can have the party we actually want. Grandma always makes everything weirdly formal anyway. I laughed despite myself. You've got a point. Plus, he added, now I don't have to pretend to care about Olivia's cheerleading updates. Win-win. We threw ourselves into planning the best graduation party possible. Maya found this venue nestled in the mountains with views that belonged on a postcard. Got a photographer who actually knew what they were doing. Hired a DJ who understood not everyone wants to hear the Cupid Shuffle on repeat. The invitations went out to everyone who mattered. Noah's friends from robotics and debate, his teachers who'd actually invested in him, kids from coding competitions who'd become close over the years. Maya's brother Julian flew in from Seattle, bringing his family. My college roommate Sean drove up from Boston with his wife and kids. Maya's parents, who'd always treated Noah like he was their own son, came early to help set up. The guest list read like a roster of people who'd actually shown up for Noah over the years. Conspicuously absent, my parents, Victoria, Elliot, and Olivia. The actual graduation ceremony was its own kind of battlefield. Spotted my parents and Victoria sitting far from our section, never approaching. When Noah gave his valedictorian speech, he talked about perseverance and surrounding yourself with people who see your potential instead of your competition. I caught my mom's eye across the crowd. She looked away quickly. The party the following Saturday was perfect. Noah was in his element, surrounded by people who genuinely cared about his achievement. Maya's parents, who'd always treated him like their own grandson, gave a toast that had half the room in tears. Julian told embarrassing stories about me from college that had Noah crying with laughter. Sean's kids presented Noah with a trophy they'd made themselves, labeled actual favorite grandson. One of Noah's teachers pulled me aside. Your son's remarkable. In 20 years of teaching, I've never seen someone with his combination of intellect and work ethic. You should be incredibly proud. I was. Around 8 p.m., my phone buzzed. Text from a number I didn't recognize. Turned out to be my Aunt Monica, my mom's sister. Saw Noah's party photos online. Looks wonderful. Your mother called me crying about being excluded. Just wanted you to know. You did the right thing. Some patterns need breaking. We did good, Maya said. We did, I agreed. No regrets. Monday morning, back at work, my phone buzzed with a text from Victoria. Mom's in tears. Dad won't talk to anyone. Hope you're happy with yourself? I wasn't planning to engage, but Victoria wasn't done. Over the next 2 weeks, the text continued. My parents were devastated. Olivia was asking why Uncle Bruno didn't come to her party. I was tearing the family apart. I'd always been selfish, but this was a new low. Maya had poisoned me against my own blood. The texts got increasingly unhinged. One claimed my dad's blood pressure was dangerously high from the stress I'd caused. A third accused Maya of being a manipulative gold digger who'd isolated me from my real family. I blocked her number on day 12. Summer flew by in the best way possible. Noah prepared for MIT, spending hours organizing his dorm room setup with the kind of precision that made me proud. We started house hunting, found a property with 5 acres, mountain views, space to actually breathe, made an offer the same day. The sale closed in August, and we moved in just before Noah left for school. Contact with my parents dwindled to nothing. No calls, no texts, complete radio silence. The 4th of July came and went. My mom's birthday. My dad's birthday. Nothing. Victoria maintained the silent treatment, which honestly improved my quality of life. Thanksgiving that year was spent with Maya's family in Portland. Christmas was just the 3 of us in a cabin near Stowe, skiing and not thinking about family drama. Most peaceful holiday season in memory. Noah thrived at MIT. He video called constantly, buzzing about classes and projects and his roommate from Singapore. Life felt lighter, without the constant weight of trying to earn approval from people determined not to give it. Then one evening in March, almost a year after graduation, my phone rang with a number I didn't recognize. Normally I wouldn't answer, but something made me pick up. Bruno? It's Elliot, Victoria's husband. We'd maybe spoken directly 10 times in the 15 years they'd been married. Elliot, this is unexpected. Yeah, listen, I know things have been weird with your family, but I need to talk to you about something. Can we meet for coffee? Just you and me, no one else involved. The request caught me completely off guard. What's this about? I'd rather explain in person. Please. It's important. I agreed to meet him. Elliot looked rough when we met at a coffee shop in Burlington 2 days later. Thinner than I remembered. Tired in a way that went beyond just needing sleep. His shirt was wrinkled, like he'd grabbed it off the floor that morning. Thanks for coming, he said, sliding into the booth. I wasn't sure you would. I'll be honest. I'm mostly here because I'm curious. He laughed, but there was no humor in it. Fair enough. He wrapped both hands around his coffee cup. Look, I'm just going to say this straight. I lost my job 8 months ago. Haven't been able to find anything. We're drowning in debt. Victoria won't admit it, but we're probably going to lose the house. I sipped my coffee, not sure where this was going or why I needed to know. Elliot had never been one to open up about personal problems. I'm sorry to hear that, Elliot, but I'm not sure what you want me to... Your parents have been paying our mortgage for 6 months? Car payments, credit cards. About $70,000 total. I set down my coffee. $70,000. They're liquidating retirement accounts. Your dad mentioned selling the house. My parents draining their savings to support Victoria. Again, the same pattern that had played out for decades. Why are you telling me this? Because they want to invest in your company. $50,000 minimum. Think it'll help them recover what they've spent. I almost laughed. Elliot, I'm the CTO, not the CEO. I don't make investment decisions. They know that. They also know you have influence. Your CEO trusts you. They want you to recommend them as investors. Tell them it's a good opportunity. Let me get this straight. My parents, who haven't spoken to me in nearly a year, now want me to help them invest in my company so they can recover money they've spent bailing out Victoria? Elliot had the decency to look uncomfortable. When you put it like that, is there another way to put it? He rubbed his face. Look, man, I know it's messed up. I know. I told Victoria this was a bad idea. But your parents are desperate. And honestly, so am I. I've got a daughter who doesn't understand why we can't afford her dance classes anymore. A wife who's convinced this is all temporary if we just get the right break. How much does Victoria know about this conversation? She knows I'm meeting with you. Doesn't know I'm being honest about how bad it is. Elliot, you seem like a decent guy who got stuck in a bad situation. But Victoria made her choices. My parents made theirs. Those choices have consequences. Yeah. He stood up, pulled out his wallet, threw a 20 on the table even though we'd only had coffee. I figured you'd say that. Can't blame you. He hesitated. For what it's worth, I always thought the way they treated you and Noah was messed up. Victoria just wouldn't hear it. Said I didn't understand family dynamics. Family dynamics, I laughed. That's one way to put it. Take care of yourself, Bruno. And honestly, good luck. I have a feeling you're going to need it. Victoria doesn't handle rejection well. I watched him leave, my mind already processing what I just heard. When I got home and told Maya, she stared at me for 10 seconds. You're kidding. Nope. 70 grand and counting. And they want you to what? Convince your CEO to let them invest? Pretty much, Maya started laughing. The audacity. The sheer, unmitigated audacity of these people. Right? So what are you going to do? I thought about it. Thought about 41 years of being second place. I'm going to do nothing, I said finally. I'm not helping them, but I'm also not engaging. They made their choice. Let them live with it. What if they escalate? Then they escalate. I'm not doing this anymore, Maya. I'm done. But escalation came faster than expected. 2 weeks after the coffee with Elliot, my mom called. First time I'd heard from her directly in almost a year. Bruno, we need to talk about helping your sister. No preamble, no apology for the silent treatment. Just straight into demands. No, we don't. Excuse me? I said no. We don't need to talk about that. Your sister is in trouble. The family needs to help her. You've already put in 70,000. How much more are you planning to drain from your retirement? Silence. Then, Elliot told you. Elliot told me? What I want to know is why you think I'd help you recover that money. Because we're family. Because despite our differences, we're asking for your help. The manipulation was so obvious, it was almost sad. Mom, you haven't spoken to me in a year. Now you want favors? That's what family does. They help each other when times are hard. Funny, because when Noah needed family support, you told me he didn't matter as much as Olivia. That's not what we said. I hung up. Blocked her number, too. Maya found me on the back deck an hour later, staring at the mountains. That sounded intense. She tried the guilt trip. Didn't work. Good. She sat down next to me. Though I have a feeling this isn't over. Maya was right. 3 days later, I got a call from my company's CEO, Cameron Lee. We'd worked together for 6 years. He didn't call unless it was serious. Bruno, I need to talk to you about something odd that happened today. What's up? I got a call from a woman claiming to be your mother. Said there were some concerns about your mental health and whether you were fit to continue in your current role. I paused. She what? Said you'd been having episodes of paranoia and making erratic decisions. Suggested the company might want to consider putting you on medical leave for everyone's safety. Even mentioned specific instances that sounded concerning if they were true. The betrayal hit me like a punch to the gut. Cameron, I can explain. Bruno, relax. I hung up on her after about 30 seconds. Called you immediately because whatever this is, it's clearly personal. He paused. Look, keep your family drama away from the office. But for the record, you're one of the most stable, reliable people I know. Thanks, Cameron. I appreciate that more than you know. When I told Maya, she went from shocked to furious in record time. She tried to get you fired? Your own mother? Apparently, Victoria's situation is desperate enough to justify scorched earth tactics. We should sue her. For what? Being manipulative isn't illegal. Maya paced the kitchen. That particular energy she got when she was problem-solving. No, but there has to be something we can do. Some way to make this stop. There is, I said quietly. I just don't know if I'm ready to do it. She stopped pacing. What are you thinking? Remember when my parents co-signed Victoria's mortgage? Back when they got married. Couldn't qualify a loan. Right. My parents are on the deed. If Victoria defaults, it tanks their credit. Maya's eyes widened. You want to buy the debt. I become the mortgage holder. Then I control the default. Can you even do that? Julian would know. Maya's brother Julian managed private wealth in Seattle. When I called that evening and explained the situation, he was quiet for a moment. Buying distressed debt? Yeah, if the bank's willing, and you have the capital. Probably looking at 250, 300,000. I've got it. It's doable. But once you do this, you can't undo it. I'm sure. Give me a week. Julian came through 10 days later. He'd found the right banker, negotiated the right terms, structured everything so I technically owned the mortgage on Victoria and Elliot's house. All legal, all above board, all completely devastating to my family's power dynamic. The process was simpler than I'd expected. The bank was happy to offload a potentially troubled asset. Julian structured it through an LLC to keep my name off the initial paperwork. Cost me $285,000 total, worth every penny. I didn't tell my parents immediately, waited for the right moment. It came 2 weeks later when Victoria called from a different number. You need to tell your CEO to invest with mom and dad. They're family, Bruno. You owe them this. I don't owe them anything, Victoria. And I'm not helping. Then you leave me no choice. I'm going to start telling people what kind of person you really are. I've already talked to some of your old friends. They're shocked, Bruno. Shocked at Victoria. You might want to check your mortgage statement before you make any more threats. What are you talking about? Check it. Then call me back. She hung up. 10 minutes later, my phone exploded with calls from her, from my mom, from Elliot. I let them all go to voicemail. Finally, around 11 that night, Victoria sent a text. What did you do? I responded simply, I bought your debt. I own your mortgage now. Every payment you make goes to me. Every late fee, every penalty. I control whether you keep that house or not. Then I turned my phone off and went to bed. The next morning, I found 17 voicemails, 34 texts, and 6 emails, all saying variations of the same thing. How could I do this to family? I was a monster. I'd regret this. Elliot's message was, we need to talk. Please. This affects Olivia too. A week later, Victoria showed up at my office. Security called me before letting her up. There's a woman here claiming to be your sister. She's very upset. Should I call the police? No, send her up. I'll handle it. Victoria burst into my office looking like she'd driven straight from a breakdown. Hair uncombed, makeup smudged from crying. She didn't wait for me to speak. You can't do this. You can't just buy our house out from under us. I didn't buy your house. I bought your debt. There's a difference. What do you want? Her voice cracked. Money? An apology? What? I leaned back in my chair, looked at her. My sister, who'd spent years being the favorite, now desperate and cornered. I want nothing, Victoria, from you or mom or dad. Then why did you do this? Because you tried to sabotage my career. Because all of you spent the last year making my life difficult. She sank into the chair. We were desperate. Do you know what it's like? We're drowning. And you're just sitting here in your nice office with your nice life and you won't help. I worked for this life. You had every advantage I never got and wasted it. That's not fair. What about Olivia? She's going to lose her home. She didn't do anything wrong. Neither did Noah when his grandparents told him he didn't matter as much as her. This is different. No, it's really not. You've had people bailing you out your entire life. Now you're dealing with someone who won't. Her face hardened. You're going to regret this, Bruno. One way or another. It's a promise. She stood up, grabbing her purse. You think you've won, but this isn't over. Get out of my office, Victoria. Everyone will see what you've done to your own family. Security, I said into my desk phone. Please escort my sister out of the building. She's no longer welcome here. She left. I immediately called Julian. Victoria just threatened me in person. Accelerate the foreclosure timeline. Get a lawyer first. Document everything. Already on it. Victoria's next move was predictable. Social media posts painting me as the villain who'd abandoned family in crisis. Long rants about how success had changed me, how Maya had brainwashed me, how I'd turned my back on a struggling sister with a daughter to support. The post got traction at first. A few hundred likes, sympathetic comments from people who didn't know the full story. My mom commented on every single one. So proud of you for speaking your truth. Family loyalty matters. Then one of Victoria's friends, who apparently knew too much, posted screenshots. Text messages where Victoria laid it out. If I make him look bad enough publicly, he'll cave. I just need to apply enough pressure. Another message. Mom's helping me coordinate. She's reaching out to his old friends. This is war. The screenshots included Victoria admitting the whole thing was planned, that she didn't actually believe half of what she was posting. that she just needed me to back down and give them money. The posts got shared. Within 24 hours, Victoria's narrative had completely collapsed. People who'd initially sympathized started commenting, asking if she'd really faked a family crisis for sympathy. She deleted everything that night, locked down her accounts, went silent. But the damage was done. Maya showed me the fallout the next morning. Renee really came through. Apparently, Victoria had been hitting her up for money too, using the same sob story. How much you want to bet Renee isn't the only one? No bet. Victoria's been running this scam for years. Just finally got caught. Julian called 3 months later. Bank accepted the terms. You own the mortgage now. Full control. Options? Demand payment and force foreclosure. Maintain current terms and collect. Or settle. Forgive the debt for a binding no-contact agreement. What does the settlement look like? No contact unless you initiate. No public or private disparagement. Violation triggers the full debt immediately. I thought about revenge versus peace. Draw it up. No contact, non-disparagement, penalties for violation. You're letting them off? Giving them a choice. Take it and disappear, or fight and lose everything. He handled the paperwork. I had everything delivered to my parents' house via courier. Copies sent to Victoria and Elliot. Didn't call, didn't explain, just let the documents speak for themselves. 2 days later, my dad called. Bruno, we received your offer. Good. Long pause. This is really what you want? For us to sign away our rights to see our grandson? You didn't want to see him when it mattered. Why would I believe you want to now? We made mistakes. You made choices. Now you face consequences. Another pause. Your mother wants to talk to you. No. Bruno, the offer stands for 72 hours. After that, I foreclose and you lose everything. Your choice. I hung up. The deadline came and went. On hour 71, I received an email from my father's lawyer. The settlement was signed. They'd agreed to all terms. In exchange for debt forgiveness, they would have no contact with me, Maya, or Noah unless we initiated it. Violation would result in the full $300,000 debt becoming due immediately. That weekend, the three of us had dinner on the deck of our mountain house. No drama, no manipulation, no family obligations. Just us. You know what's weird? Noah said around a mouthful of Maya's famous lasagna. I don't miss them. Not even a little? Maya asked. Maybe Grandpa's terrible jokes. But that's it. Everything else? Good riddance. I looked at my son, secure in his worth, and felt that pride again. Victoria tried contacting me 6 months later. Email to my work address. Subject: Can we talk? Archived without reading. Julian monitored for agreement violations. So far, silence. My dad understood $300,000 in debt would destroy them. Through LinkedIn, I learned my parents had sold their house in Ashford, moved to a small rental in Burlington to be closer to Victoria. My dad took a part-time job at Home Depot. 72 years old, wearing an orange apron, cutting keys for minimum wage. Julian called with an update a few months after that. Your parents tried to refinance Victoria's house. The bank denied them. Credits shot from liquidating their retirement accounts. And Victoria? Elliot found work. Entry-level position, takes orders from kids half his age. They're making payments on time. Barely. One missed payment and the whole thing collapses. Good. Julian had more to say. Your mom tried to open a new credit card. Got denied. Your dad applied for a personal loan. Same result. They're stuck. Can't dig out. Can't move forward. Just treading water to keep Victoria afloat. I didn't ask how long Julian had talked to my dad. Didn't want to know. Julian was neutral in all this. Maintained relationships where he could. That was his choice. Thanks for keeping me updated. You sure you want updates? Might be easier not to know. I want to know. A year later, Noah mentioned seeing a Facebook post from Olivia. Dropped out after 1 semester, working retail, going nowhere. Feel bad for her? Maya asked. Noah shrugged. She had every advantage. Favoritism doesn't just hurt the kids who don't get it, I said. Ruins the ones who do too. That night, lying in bed, Maya rolled over. Ever wonder what would have happened if you'd just gone along with it? I thought about it. Sometimes. Then I remember Noah saying standard operating procedure. That resignation. And I know I made the right call. No regrets? None. Noah came home for spring break his junior year at MIT. He'd landed an internship at SpaceX for the summer. Should I post about it on social media? He asked over dinner, grinning. You're terrible, Maya said, but she was smiling. I learned from the best. Noah looked at me. Seriously, though, thanks. For everything. For not making me go to that stupid party. For standing up when it mattered. Some of my friends at MIT, their families are still putting them through the ringer. I don't have to deal with any of that. You earned it, I said. We all did. And that's my story, Reddit. Life is good now, with the people who saw my worth, who chose to be here. Everyone and everything else is just background noises. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel and help us bring you more and better stories. Thanks.